Okay, so we're recording now, so if you'd like to begin.
Good. Thank you, everybody, for attending the final meeting of the Region 6 Stakeholder Advisory Committee. And for the first item of the agenda, do we have any census on or changes to the minutes from the previous meeting? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? No? Okay. For the agenda tonight, everybody's seen a copy of the agenda for tonight. Do we have any questions on or changes to tonight's agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda for tonight? And seconded, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. With that, I don't have any comments. The county executive worded it very well, and I appreciate everybody's efforts on the committee over the last several months and staff as well. And without much further ado, I will turn it over to staff so we can get started and get this work finished tonight.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So this is the last of our screen my share. This is the last of our meetings. So after we have this meeting tonight, your work will have been completed, and we certainly appreciate the work that you all have done. I will back up quickly to our agenda. We have moved public comments to the start of the meeting. This is where we will have our final opportunity to discuss changes to the preliminary draft plan, and also any zoning changes. So at this point, Joel, if you want to maybe open the public comment period, because I know we do have some.
Yes, indeed. So if there's anyone in person or online tonight who wishes to speak, I guess it would be in general terms, Patrick, not in any specific case, or are we doing specific cases right now?
Specific as well.
Okay. Any matter that anybody would like to speak to the group tonight, I believe there's a 2-minute time limit.
2-minute time limit, and we do have one person online. So let me start with that person and then come to the folks who are with us tonight.
Take it away.
So this is Mrs. Weller. I have unmuted you, or can you hear us, Ms. Weller? Yeah, you're unmuted now. You have the floor if you can speak. Okay, I'm not hearing anything. Let me let us move to some of the folks that we have live with us and see if I can figure out what's the holdup with your being able to speak. Okay. All right.
Very good.
We tested it. It should be working.
Try it again. Comment period. For those who were here in person, shall we start just here on this end, and whoever is on the right side, as I see the end of the room here, if you'd like to speak and stand up and give your name and address and go for it.
Where to go over first?
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
We got to figure out some way.
Okay,
to start.
so hello, good evening to all the members of the committee, and I also want to thank you all for your services to us. I know it's a tough job to do things like this. My name is Holly Tompkins, with myself, Holly Tompkins, Rain Consulting, and I'm representing Honey Smith Bees. This is Ryan Smith, and he's one of the owners. We're requesting a zoning change to accommodate existing land uses and facilitate future uses, RLD to C3. Yes, it's a jump, but C1 does not have garden centers. This property is a garden center, and it's an intersection. The C1 zone would create a non-conforming use, which is not permitted. So therefore, on the basis of our request to C3, that would permit retail stores, outside storage, and importantly, garden centers. It is important that we address consistency with respect to the county's existing land use designation in 2017 for this property as retail commercial. The current zone is not consistent with that designation. The annotated code of Maryland sections 1-303 consistency, general requirement, and 3-303 periodic review and implementation requires land uses and zoning be consistent with a comprehensive plan. Given this property for many years has been operating as a commercial use, which through bill number 83-16 specifically added garden centers to RLD and has a zoning certificate of use for a garden center, the 2040 GDP missed the opportunity to make the use and zoning consistent with each other and the plan itself. Under annotated code 4-202 zoning regulations, purposes zones are to conserve value of property, encourage orderly development, and the most appropriate use of land. Under 4-204 amendment reclassification, really all right? Okay, all right, well, I'll let Mr. Smith address the uses on his property, but we are looking for a seat.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm Ryan Smith, as Holly mentioned, one of the owners of Honey Smith Bees and Gardens. We purchased the store just over 2 years ago, and previously it was Arundel Gardens. And when we purchased it, the owner had it about 26 years, it was tired. And so we have recently brought some life to it. And our goal is to make it a place that people in the community will want to go. We have an observation hive inside the store right now, which kids come just to see the bees inside the store in the glass hive. But our store is a double wide trailer. She had a buyer when she purchased the property in 1999, brought in the trailer as a temporary store. That temporary store has been there since 1999. And so our goal is to pull that trailer out and install a larger retail space, a permanent building, which will also help facilitate educational classes, our beekeeping operations. I operate 500 hives throughout the county and throughout Maryland. So we'd have honey extraction, candle making for wax candles, and also outdoor classes for the community. But we want to make it a place where the community comes and enjoys their time there, not just to shop, but to walk around, enjoy the property, enjoy the flowers and the bees that are there, the ducks that are wandering around. But with the current zoning, we're not able to bring in the size of a building that we want to have the things that we would like to provide for the community there. And that's one of our goals, is to be intimate with the community and have the community there with us. We have new people coming in every day that have never been there before, and they always come back. And we love that, and they make it part of their own, so.
Recording in progress.
Thank you very much.
Did you want to check with your online person first, or do you want me to be fair?
I think we're double checking to see what's going on. So if you want to go ahead and go next,
Absolutely.
yeah, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Phil Hager with Hager Land Use. I have three zoning applications I'm going to address this evening. The first of these is 1240 General Highway. This 2.9 acre property consists of 3 parcels and is owned by Guy Kazeva. Guy is here with us this evening. We submitted a zoning application for this property asking for it to be changed from C1 to C4. I understand there may be some reluctance to go with this high of intensity. However, there really is no other option. The zoning code allows contractors in the C4 district and there's no provision for it anywhere else in the code. General's Highway is an arterial highway. The subject property has 335 linear feet of frontage along this highway. The C4 zoning district is called highway commercial. The requested designation is contextually consistent with this. The land use category for the property is commercial, which is consistent with the existing C1 zoning and also with the requested C4 zoning. This business has quietly existed at this location for quite some time. The owner is not embarking upon any new business operation. They are merely interested in continuing to offer the services to the residents of the county that they have offered for so long. One of the stated purposes of the comprehensive rezoning process is to clean up inconsistencies such as this. We'd be happy to pursue another option. However, there really is no other option. Please do not make my client pay the price for the code's shortcomings. I respectfully request that you take another look at this property and consider making the zoning, the existing use, and the land use designation consistent with one another. Please consider honoring our request for C4. Does anyone have any questions before I ask if my client would like to do it?
What was the name, what was the address of that property again?
1240 General Highway. The gasoline service stations right next door. Okay. Guy, did you want to speak?
Sure, I'll say something. I have a 100-year-old mother in my house, so I have to keep this phone in case she calls. So if it goes off, I gotta go. But yes, I do own the property at 1240, and we're hoping to change our zoning to C4. And mostly to echo the comments of the communities I met down at Harold Harbor and Arundel and Severn, who don't have a facility to serve them for a prescription or half gallon of milk anytime they need anything. They've got to go into the traffic in Annapolis, which you know now is horrendous. We're having to go to Severna Park. It'd be the perfect like location. It would come right up in River Road, right to General's Highway. And development, now I lived in that property for 13 years before I built a new home for my mother. And I can tell you, you have to go through that light now and stop in traffic to get into the small little gas station that barely serves the community. I have Walgreens, CVS, and other pharmacies that are interested in my property, but they told me get the zoning first, and they'll have, we have 6 acres together, my neighbor and myself, to serve the community. They're not interested in the little C4 gas stations next door. Rural Farms, that neighbor petitioned Rural Farm to the county, shot down because there's no use for a quarter of an acre lot there. And the way the traffic formation is, it's just impossible to serve the community. So our property would be perfect, but I wanted to go through the right channels to present our argument to the council here. And I hope you'll see our argument that it would serve the county whether and the communities down this street or River Road. And we get my mother happier. Thank you very much. My name is Gaetano Gizeva. Do this. Yeah, I have questions.
I'll get the spelling off of the list.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the. Okay, thank you. I'll move, with your permission, to the next one. This property is right next door to the one we were just discussing. The address is 1222 General Highway. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight concerning this property. It's approximately 2.77 acres in size, and it's currently zoned C1. It fronts General Highway and it abuts about a 1 acre property that is an existing C4 zone property that's home to an existing automobile service station. The property owner is an electrical contractor who has been serving the residents of Anne Arundel County for many years. He intends to relocate his business to this location to take advantage of its access to Route 97 and its central location. It's almost geographically the centroid of Anne Arundel County from a point of least minimum aggregate travel. The C4 district, also referred to as the Highway Commercial District, is intended to support uses on properties along high volume roadways such as Maryland 178 General Highway. This classification supports commercial uses consistent with the intended development. An electrical contractor in this particular case would complement existing activities and would be able to be accommodated within such a zone. The rezoning this property to C4 would accommodate development that is practical and contextually suitable for this location. The requested zoning is consistent with the existing land use, which is commercial, and is consistent with the surrounding area. In fact, the property is entirely surrounded by commercially designated lands. The property owners are respectfully requesting that the existing commercial land use for this property be retained, and the property as described herein be rezoned to C4 as part of this rezoning process. I'll be happy to take any questions anyone has on that. Although this isn't part of what you all consider when you do the rezoning, these two properties being side by side would create opportunities when you get down the road to develop and review development review policies, practices, et cetera, which is a whole nother unit within the Department of ODD, but there would be opportunities to create improved circulation, access, control, new access to those properties being side by side. Also, the existing gas station is there, so there could be opportunities to actually improve some of the traffic headaches in that particular area through the development that results of these requests. With your permission, I'll move to the third. In 2011, OPC recommended C1 zoning for the property located at 1341 Sunrise Beach Road in Crownsville. For some inexplicable reason, that did not happen. Since that time, considerable change has taken place in the area. All of the properties across General's Highway are zoned commercial, and the properties across Sunrise Beach Road are zoned commercial. The area has also seen substantial population increase and a great deal of growth in rooftops. Perhaps most impactful has been the construction of the fire station directly across the street from the subject property. This has served to make residential development at this site virtually impossible. If OPZ was recommending C1 in 2011, then the changes that have manifested themselves over the intervening 15 years clearly warrant a commercial designation of something higher. In fact, current development costs cannot be supported by a C1 designation. There are no wetlands, protected areas, conservation easements, or critical area on the site. A small tributary of Indian Branch runs along the eastern property line, and that would necessitate a 100-foot buffer, which in no way would affect the ability of the site to be redeveloped. The C3 district, which is what we're requesting in this particular instance, is referred to as the general commercial district. It's intended to support a variety of medium intensity uses and properties capable of supporting such uses. The relatively significant size of this property, 1.71 acres, its substantial frontage along a high volume highway, and the fact that Sunrise Beach Road and 178 is a intersection controlled, in other words, there's a signal, traffic signal at this intersection, all support the idea that this area could accommodate such a change. The additional uses that would benefit the residents of the area would cater specifically to their needs. I would encourage you to incorporate these considerations in your deliberations as you look at this property. Property owners, this property is with me here today. I'll see. Like to speak.
Hello, guys. My name is Nick Stanco. I own 1341 Sunrise Beach Road. My mom and I bought it together years ago. And as Phil said, we don't know what happened with the last comprehensive zoning. Somehow it got slipped through the cracks. So, now we're trying to move forward, provide something back for the community. The fire station, it used to be a very busy Wawa right there on the corner. And I built my house right on the corner there. The first set of mailboxes was Woolly Way. I'm up on the hill. So I know the community. I was quite upset that Wawa was leaving. When we heard of a Wawa closing down, right? So, they moved to Route 3, alongside Aurora Farms. I've been a resident now since 1975 after my father retired from the service. So that's when we bought our first house in Severn. Then I built my house for my family right off Woolly Way in 1999 when I got married. So I think the best use would be something other than a house, because who wants a house there with all the noise from a fire station? Because literally, like maybe from here to there, it's so close. So that's what I'd like to see. Thank you very much for your time.
Next.
David, first speaker, the last year, I was going on paper. My name is Daniel Jones. I work for a family company, Jones Minneapolis. We do site utility contracting, and I'm here today to talk about 1861 Craftville Road. My dad purchased the property in 1995, so 30 years ago. Current use is rubble processing, which basically is we take concrete, asphalt from existing job sites. We crush it, screen it, and then use it again on other job sites. So, not looking to change the use at all, but we are requesting to zone it to W3 to match, existing use as now, because right now as it stands, it is a non-conforming use. I did watch some of the comments on the, property when you guys were discussing it. I saw a comment come up about, just wait for the use to go away. I just want to, kind of delve into like the specifics of construction where like this use really isn't going to go away ever unless it's like, legislated away. This yard will always be a rubble processing yard. So it really just for our family, it's a small family business. We like to perfect the use for what we have now. So if there's something that comes up in the family, step away, it's a bad year or something, we don't work the yard for a year. We don't lose our non-conforming designation. And I submitted, I think you guys showed off my written memo I submitted, but I know W3 is scary, but if you actually go through the list of what you're allowed to do with only 8 acres of W3, you'll see that there's really no change in allowable uses, just because we only have 8 acres now. So that covers that. Just to address the neighborhoods behind the yard now, surrounding neighborhood, we actually we used to own the property behind. I think we sold this 12 acres surrounding the farm, so they're used to the use. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Dave Jones. I started Jones Minneapolis many years ago, and basically I'm here to answer any questions they have now. But I'm just pitching ask about being invested in Arundel County. Thank you guys for it. Let me get more investment in Arundel County. We go out of our way to be great neighbors. The yard we have on Trailsville Road, we're allowed to operate 24 hours a day. We will not, several times a year, we're asked to open it up late night for the heavy highway construction off at night. But it's always true. We won't allow that. I think if you go through the county records, you'll find very little with no complaints. I think they'll go out of our way to all our projects to get them over. The property's not being sold. It's not being here. I started doing this when I was 16 years old. We have no intent of putting it up and continue to upgrade when carbon down. Hope you can use it in mind. Any questions? Have the answer.
Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Well, I didn't use up all my time. Can I recapture it?
Very quickly, you said you had a question.
Well,
I think that was a question.
Okay.
Let-
You have multiple applications.
All three as parcels were incorporated into one application.
Okay. Is there anything more that,
Well, my question, actually, I met Abby Bacon years ago. We became good friends. I haven't seen her in years. I was wondering, we were really good buddies. I would call her, she'd call me. Does anybody know what happened to her? Is she still on the earth?
Absolutely.
She's gone? Oh, I'm so sorry. When did that happen?
Maybe a few years ago.
Oh, no, she was the wonderful, she's the one that approached me about changing the property to serve as neighborhood. That was my question. If anybody you have to actually.
thank you. Let me return to, our online guest. Mrs. Weller, would you like to?
Hi, can
proceed?
you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay,
are.
my name's Deborah Weller. I represent the Old Millersville Neighborhood Association. I have 3 points. One, for everybody who has requested an upzoning, I want to state that I have no problems with what you're currently doing, but I am concerned about upzoning because there is always a potential that you will leave, and then the door is open for something that was never intended. It would be better if it was a variance or an exception to protect or not to allow that door to be open. I don't want to damage the existing businesses. I hope that's understood. My second point is I want to thank you for maintaining, I'm having a brain freeze, RLD or R1 for the land area between the bike trail, South Shore, Millersville Road, and the elementary school and Waterbury. I'm trying to go fast. I apologize if I'm talking too fast. My last point is on parcel 0357. It's currently RLD, and I'm hoping that you have agreed to keep that RLD. It's what the community wants. Traffic is bad. It will never have water and sewer. And if you drive down Route 3 North, you're going to see agriculture adjacent to it. Corn, small miniature goats. They're selling beets. And that agriculture is rare in this area. So let's keep it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That's our only online guest, and we've heard from everybody who is with us tonight, unless anybody else. Okay. So I suppose we can close the public comment.
You can indeed. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who came to speak. I do know that Patrick, you have on the agenda that we will ultimately discuss some of the zoning applications later on in the evening. So somebody has to run away, but I think before we get to that point, we'll have other matters on the agenda to discuss. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. So what we're going to do is quickly run through the preliminary drafts plan that we sent you with some updates, and we highlighted in the email some of the updates. We may or may not need to discuss a whole lot. I did get one comment from one of you today, so we can touch on that, and then we'll get into, we've got 2 new zoning applications, and Maddie's going to give a quick overview of the public comments that we got on the preliminary draft zoning. So let's move to this. And this was in the email. Hopefully you all had a chance to open up the PDF and take a look and really kind of dive into it. We built out the what we heard section. This was kind of in response to the question about how do we prioritize the things that are in the plan. This is really what this section was intended to do, and we just didn't have it pulled together in the first draft that we had sent you. So this is kind of highlights the major issues that we've heard over the course of this process. It includes maintaining, rural character and how the plan does that, protecting environmental features, the transportation issues, and the things that the plan is recommending in that regard, and then historic preservation within the region. So that is that piece, and this is not missing. There we go. Within the community hub section, we didn't make a whole lot of changes based on our conversation from the last meeting. We did delete the recommendation. It's actually not in the community hub section, but back in the community description section, we did delete that recommendation for the Millersville Road and Route 3 intersection commercial area to be moved to Region 5. That was based on your comment and your vote that we took at the last meeting. So that is a change that you would have seen. I do have a question for you guys on the SAC. We got in the public comments for the zoning map. We got a lot of comments on that Route 3 Millersville Road, the application at the southeast corner. Within that, there were 8 comments that specifically referenced opposition to the concept of a community hub. And, this is prior to this plan and any of this text going out to the public, so nobody has seen that yet, but we're still getting opposition, and it's kind of significant at this point already. And so I guess my question for you all is, should we go ahead and delete that as a community hub in the plan, or should we keep it in the plan, let it go to the PAB and let it go out to the public and let the public read it and then see what the response is at that stage? I have no problem striking that from the plan now, so I just kind of wanted to bring that up and
And it's
What's the opposition?
Yeah, what's
where is it again?
this is,
Brownsville and Route 3.
yeah, so we have the 6 community hubs that we talked about, 3 on General's Highway, and then the other, and one of those is that Millersville Route 3 area, and it kind of encircles all of the currently commercially zoned properties there. And we have a little, you've read it, it's the kind of little vision for that area.
I can characterize the opposition. What are they saying? Sorry.
Well, it seemed like in the comment section, there is a lot of opposition to, even the current zone. People wanted to see it down zone further to back to park or something. So if you were gonna capture the vision of the community, I think integrating it into the trail or, the county acquiring it as a park would be more in line with what we'd like versus a commercial hub, but it's already zoned commercial, so I can see the challenge.
Well, and to that point, we did add that, we're receiving a lot of comments in, this is in the plan now, in the draft that you have. We're hearing from the public that there's a lot of interest in the county acquiring that corner site. So we did add that into the plan. It's not like a mandate, the county shall require, but I don't know if you all have an opinion, a strong opinion one way or the other.
You're saying they're,
No,
you're saying potentially striking, so there's no meeting and, no starting point, blank canvas.
There's nothing referencing
The
that.
red
as a
dot would go
community
away.
hub.
Right, the red dot would go way off the map and that would be, right, one less community hub recommendation.
So we would be left with 5, the 3 on General's Highway, Crown.
Let the process play out going forward as you highlighted, right?
Or we can keep it in, let it go out for public review through the PAB process and see what the comments are during that.
I get a lot of, sometimes though, I'm just playing devil's advocate of keeping it in, because sometimes the public comments can be helpful to inform as it moves forward. If they get a lot of opposition, that they would it might drive the county to take action to turn it into, downgrade it to turn it into something else.
as opposed to just glossing over
Right,
it. moving
right.
on.
If you're ignoring it, you're not gonna get input most likely, right? I find
Right.
you stay silent, so sometimes it's good to attract attention, even if it's maybe the opposite of what you wanted, just.
Because it already is zone commercial, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
unless you're gonna change your recommendation to a park or something.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So anyway, just a thought.
And in our description of what that place is, that has not been made to the public, right? So they're objecting to the principle of the fact that we're calling it a thing.
Right.
Without seeing what that thing actually is.
Correct.
And whether we call it something or not, it is let me think of an alternate word than community hub. It is a population nexus where a lot of things are happening commercially. And there's also multimodal stuff happening South Shore Trail, right? So something is happening there and it is an area of concern. And I feel like, don't we want to have our take on what
That should be.
be?
Right.
Right. I mean, call it whatever you want, right? Call it Tom and Jerry or whatever. We need to say something about what's happening there because it's a mess. And we want to be able to say, hey, the people that live there want something to happen there. The down zoning, we've talked about that before, but this is much broader than that. This is just like, hey, man, we want this place to not be a disaster and here's how we think that might look.
And I think that what we've said in this is it's a multimodal crossroads hub. As opposed to one of our more business hubs. At least what I'm reading here.
And
And it said, you know, it's located convergence of MD3 with the future of the South Shore Trail, creating a multimodal link between Region 5 and Region 6. And then, you know, the highway will have outreach and design phase for multimodal crossing across MD3. The current plans include a proposed shared use path running perpendicular. The addition of this shared use, I mean, it basically still, it doesn't seem commercial to me with the language that's in here. It seems more, okay, we're gonna make sure that the South Shore Trail is here and there's a way to actually get people safely.
Okay.
And I think with that language that, I mean, we may get less opposition because it may be like people, oh, that's actually, that fits more what I want.
Exactly.
Not what
It
they
seems like
immediately
it's
think
become
of as
more
like
of
a
that.
commercial center, right?
Right.
It's not what we have.
Right, and I think having it in there is a way to say, you know, like, if we took it out, then there's no community buy-in. If someone comes along and says, well, South Shore Trail crossing at this location is too hard, so we're just gonna cancel it.
And this
Like,
is saying,
oh,
this
guess
is on
what?
page 25,
I mean, it's
45, if
conceivable,
anybody
right?
wants to see it, but it basically goes on to say that, it introduces the potential for trail-oriented development at this intersection, see inset. And the trail-oriented development has this whole part about various communities that embraced having trail-oriented development. So it's basically being pretty specific about it not being a commercial area. So I personally would suggest that we keep it in there just to make sure that people are clearly aware of what we're talking about, and then they complain about it and want to pull it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say at the end, there's going to be a decision. Whichever decision is it, to keep it, to upzone it, that whatever it is, someone is going to make a decision. But if we leave it the way it is, hopefully, based on everybody's point, is we'll bring comment, awareness from the community, and if they really don't like whatever decision is going to be made, they can talk about it. But I think that what will happen by taking it out is like we leave that for whoever is next.
Yeah.
To make whichever decision that might be even more opposition. No, I agree.
With what we think it should be and then step back.
I already went from it being taken out of our region to keeping it in.
Right.
Now it's
Right.
the next.
If we're gonna keep it, we should say something about
Yeah.
And I think we can, when I look at what's written here, it seems like it's pretty clear that we want to keep it away from becoming a commercial corner,
Yeah.
which is what they don't want.
Yeah.
And it becomes much more of a health, and maybe we even mentioned health benefits, promoting active movements and expanding access to nature and green areas.
Yeah.
So I think that if they read the specifics, they might find that it meets more what they want.
it. Do we need to vote for any of that, Patrick, or just?
I don't need a,
It is as is.
necessarily, I just wanted to put that out
No,
for
that's
discussion.
helpful.
I'm hearing a consensus from you
Yeah.
all.
You
Let's-
wrote it up really well.
Okay, well, I mean.
We all
you
agree with what.
You all helped, so that's
Consensus.
good, okay.
I have
Alright.
a question about the dot at the bottom. Was that one always there? Cause isn't that the part where you're taking me out of our region?
This?
Yeah.
No, that's Crownsville Road and.
Oh,
Highway.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did, I hope you all had a chance to look at this. We did add some additional text on page 57 regarding cultural resources. So outside of this group, we actually had heard several comments from different people in different places and different contexts. Specifically about Belvoir and the importance of Belvoir, and that it's a really threatened resource and super important. So we sort of reconfigured the text in the cultural resources section to kind of use it as an opportunity to work in Belvoir, but also a little bit of background on Crownsville Hospital, and also some background on the city properties at Waterworks Park. And just so to kind of highlight those as some priority areas for preservation, and highlight the need for adaptive reuse for these properties to have a use and a purpose to help ensure the preservation. And then we drafted a strategy that we've added, and we'll come back to that. I'm gonna get into all of the strategies in a subsequent slide. So that's that in a nutshell. this is one, Graham, if I can kind of get your help here, and let's, thank you. You had given me, some comments about the section about the parks and Valentine Creek, and I want to.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. So, reading through this section comes across as like, and Patrick confirmed this to me when I went back and forth with you on. This is just a like a boilerplate statement of like what Parks is doing in the region or what they have planned, but obviously the bit about design for public water access at Valentine Creek Park focused on a fishing pier and car top boat launch. If you live in Arden or Valentine Creek or Harold Harbor, you might have got a petition or seen it in your newsletter about that. It may be even further away. Stacey, I don't know if you've seen anything about that, where you're at, but that language in there, it's like, I think that's, first of all, I think that project as described is not something that I would support. And it's in a document that's gonna have my name on it. And I understand that that's like maybe Parks and Recs talking, but we did talk water access, like if you guys can remember, like way back when we first got started, and we talked about like county acquiring land. We talked about Arlington Echo. That's the one I keep coming back to because that's already county owned land, owned by people that allegedly work for us. Right, like, and they've got water access, so you know, but we kind of breezed right past it. And so seeing that particular plan come up, knowing how sensitive it is in my community and probably the other ones around it right now,
Would you feel comfortable if they had it just say design for public water access focused on?
see, I don't
And
even know
just
if
take out Valentine.
because I wouldn't even say that because the site that they're developing, you already have to cut through the back of the neighborhood to get to the starting point, and then you have to cut through
The woods.
Yeah.
woods and hilly terrain.
The reason the county acquired this, the reason it was not developed is because the developer could not cut a road through.
Right.
They couldn't. And so to say, oh, that's okay, the county will cut a
County
road
will.
through it. The developer can't do it. It's not financially viable to do it.
Right.
So why should the county have to do something that's not financially in anyone's interest? It's gonna cost a ton of money for something none of the surrounding communities want.
Yeah.
A lot of my neighbors have also been against it, as well as the General Highway Board. General Highway wrote a letter against the park when it was at its conceptual phase, when it was gonna be dredged and a boat trailer thing. And I'm just curious, where is it in the phase? Because, you know, when Parks came and presented to us, they made it sound like, we heard what you said and that's why we scaled it back. But now they're marking specimen trees and literally everybody's freaking out. So are they marking those trees because they're surveying it, or are they about to start construction, or like, where is it in the process so we can tell our neighbors that are worried about it?
And I think
Yeah,
those
developers
people
that
that really
should
want
push
water
hard.
access, they should be fine with the last part of it that says that water access is important and we're still looking at ways to find it, but.
And I
we
think,
have to identify this
again,
particular part.
Keeping Valentine Creek in this could be a good spot to direct the people that are upset about it to comment on that paragraph.
Use it as a lightning rod of like,
Yeah.
hey, you're gonna hate,
there to get opposition.
you're gonna hate this.
This
I
is
just-
Stacy's approach.
I do that in my work all the time.
Well, it's like, even if we delete it from this document, Parks is already
It's
doing it,
still
and they haven't been very open about it, because I haven't heard anything about it in 3 years, so I don't know if they've had more meetings or
Or what?
how it's evolved. They're marking trees and.
So the Rec and Parks website, I don't know how up to date this is, but the capital projects page references completed feasibility study, that's from 2022, just project status and design, and that's
Yeah.
what we got.
It sounds very heightened only. I thought they said they had a big announcement that it was determined that they would not do it, which is why it's surprising to hear that they're marking specimen trees,
Yeah.
because I
I thought
heard
they
the
said it
same,
was only
there was like a big public
Yeah.
thing that, oh, we're not gonna do this.
Right.
Well, it's already hiking. I thought it was just gonna be for like kayaks. If they still have to have a way to get the
Right.
kayaks. I mean,
Which lines up with what I think the Parks and Recs people said when they were here, and even I said, well, you know, do you have to make it ADA compliant? Do you have to provide a certain number of parking spaces? Like, they're still talking a huge project, even just to drag your kayaks 200 yards to the water, which also doesn't have a shoreline. You have to build a shoreline there down Pine Creek.
I
And
just,
it's
I
back
have,
there every day, right?
I haven't heard any one person in this region like this idea, so I guess the parks is determined to have water access somewhere, but no one likes this spot.
Yeah, and Board of Education says not, you know, come and take it.
Take
At Arlington.
the Board of
Can we
Education.
put like a big like flashing neon sign that says like, this is Parks' idea, like, please direct all comments to parks@aacounty.org or.
Well, so I was gonna point out, we have a strategy that I think is pretty well worded. It says, under healthy communities, evaluate opportunities for additional locations of non-motorized boat ramps and car top boat launches on the Severn River, coordinate with neighborhood groups to enhance community benefits and mitigate neighborhood impacts. And I was wondering if we could, kind of in that intro, to this laundry list where we say this is what Rec and Parks is doing, could we maybe revise there to say, you know, the following projects have been completed or are being studied, and this plan encourages close coordination with surrounding neighborhoods to ensure support and mitigate neighborhood impacts. I don't know, is that true? Start to get at? What,
That's the recommendation.
no, I mean, like, is it true that Parks is going to do close coordination with neighborhood impacts?
We would have no way of knowing that.
But we would have reiterated it in this plan.
No, but I
Yeah,
think
that-
that
that's
it
what
was,
needs to
it was
happen.
worth making a note about that. That at least will be our desire, right? In terms of like putting on paper, because I feel, I see your point about like, if I am a member of the public, this is the first time I'm reading this and I'm saying like, what? Did you guys approve it? I wouldn't read that this is a Parks and Recreation project. This is something that there will be the assumption that we approve or we recommended. So I think that just kind of like making sure that, yes, this is kind of like almost disclosure saying like, this is what Parks and Recreation has planned for the region. We're including it for informational purposes. Please reach out and again, to your point about the paragraph that says Parks and Recreation should or some type of consistent with their plan, they will kind of execute something that it says that it is not our recommendation per se, correct? This is more about us acknowledging that this is something that is already happening in the region, that we are aware, and that we hope that by putting in this draft, people will be also aware that this is happening and might happen in the region. I think for me, it's more about public awareness rather than just, saying this is what we think.
But I get, he doesn't want it to look like we're endorsing it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
correct, which I would feel comfortable.
What Parks is doing there?
Yeah, we
Like,
can, we haven't had a chance to
Yeah.
do that, but I'm kind of, I mean, tonight's the last opportunity. I guess I'm wondering,
If, I like your wording where it's like, you know, we get that, you know, equity and access. But this region might, it's a challenge here. And our stakeholders like passive recreation and trails, which is what that area is being used for. And so are you gonna provide one at the expense of the other? Like ideally, you would find a spot that's not wooded and isn't already being enjoyed as a beautiful water hiking access. Yeah.
So I think the two options or the two approaches are to take it out altogether or to make sure there's a beefed up caveat that says
Calls
this
for
is
that.
Parks' project and here's what we recommend as far as community involvement.
And consistent with our.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The SAC wants to see the parks develop these projects along these lines.
Sure.
And there is a
With the
history of it.
involvement of the community.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
line.
And there's already at least a history of the community influencing the use to be downgraded, from boat trailers to kayak. So you could word it like parks should continue to listen to the community to make sure it's the best.
Throw the parks above.
And I think it needs to stay in there so you actually get
Get a response,
community and
yeah.
response and
so,
content.
Yeah.
That language, does that
Yeah.
remove
I get
some
it.
of your objections?
so what if we kind of end that little section with something that we add in that summarize, maybe at the end of this, this last paragraph here, this is page 63, if any of you were looking. It's something to the effect of the SAC, recommends that these projects be developed with significant input and support from the surrounding community, something along those
Yeah.
lines. Would that kind of get at what you're looking at?
And encourage people to be involved.
Graham, does that
Yeah, I think
get
so.
what you're?
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
Never heard of that in my life, so thank you for bringing it up. I don't live close enough.
I want to be able to show my face at the hideaway. Which is-
Right. I'll be able to sit next to you.
If it ever was built, like who, would the users be primarily out of the region or would they?
No, they'd probably be in the region, but just not have water access.
It depends, there's not that much water access, I
There isn't.
envision people
I
coming.
mean, I can see people in my neighborhood.
Once the word gets out, I
Drive
can
into
see
the city of
people
Annapolis,
coming.
so.
Yeah, I
I
can
could
see
go
people in
somewhere
my
else.
neighborhood going over there with
Oh,
their
absolutely.
kayaks and going in.
Oh,
Because
absolutely,
so
I don't
easy.
envision it just being Arundel.
Oh, God,
No, if it's public, county owned or
Yeah.
county
Yes,
managed,
right.
it's
It's gonna-
expectation that anybody
Yeah.
from the
Especially
county
if it's on the
will
Parks
will enjoy it.
webpage.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
Yes.
yeah.
You'll
Even
get
if
a
there's
lot
no
of
parking,
Right.
yes, they will find a way.
All right, thanks. That's helpful. We'll make that addition to our plan. So pages 77, 78, we did add some significant information about how people in community groups can kind of plug into various sources of information. This is kind of a lot, but it sort of is what it is, you know? So tried to just really highlight the importance of organizing as a community or as a neighborhood. And then getting on various email lists, whether it's from the executive's office, from council, from planning and zoning and others. And then monitoring things like the budget process, how to monitor developments in the area, and then key departmental stats across the county and things like capital projects and those kinds of things. So
I so appreciate you putting this in here. because
Yes.
share it with
I
people
know,
because it,
that was my one problem
Yeah,
with the
probably.
last one is that I got so many people asking me, how in the world do you know these things?
Yeah.
Where in the world do you look for it? So I love the fact that you actually put all the links in here and that you actually,
Good.
you know, made it very clear about all the different places they can move into this process. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
good, yeah, all right. And then we did revise some things with regard to the strategies, so. We revised strategies BE5 and BE6, and this not significant in terms of content, but just to really split them so that one is focused a little bit more on roadway safety and the other is focused on congestion and traffic operations. And we did add a few road and intersection segments that were mentioned a good bit in some of the public comments. So those are the changes to those two strategies.
Sunrise Beach Road needs to be added to that.
Sunrise Beach,
And tell you how many times people plowed through it, and my neighbors.
got it.
The one next to me,
I think someone's trying to steal your bee.
my bees. Right. My husband talks to him enough about that stuff.
Adding capacity on 97 and 3 is not gonna reduce traffic on General Highway, it's just gonna increase it. Cause
I'm
instead
sorry,
of
it's
2
still-
lanes of 97 going on to General Highway, when there's a crash, put 3 lanes. So it'll just make traffic on General Highway worse, yeah, capacity on the other. And the people on Route 3 don't want to add capacity to Route 3. So that's
Second
Region
bullet?
5, the second on PE6, the second part.
Add capacity.
Folks on Route 3 don't want more cars on Route 3. And adding cars to Route 97 isn't gonna help any of the surrounding roads. It used to hand, it just creates more congestion.
We're looking at Region
Just put it
6.
free
You may
traffic
agree with that.
operations. But
Improve traffic operations, I mean, I think there's the way traffic merges onto 97 is very, very bad, and they were supposed to be studying that, I don't know if they are now. But it's the way that traffic merges on 97.
But I think at some point they do have to add capacity on
But they
97.
don't.
You
And
can't
that's the
go
thing,
from
you're
4
inducing-
lanes down to 2 lanes.
Given
It
that-
just doesn't work.
Given
But
that
that's-
MDOT has
that's
already
not
started
the
this ball
science of it,
rolling,
though.
maybe we just budget improved traffic operations.
You know,
Take out pad capacity.
That's what I was saying.
You know, take out the
It's
capacity.
already in the works
Yeah.
anyway, and then.
As
Not
a
gonna-
professional engineer who has studied this for decades, adding lanes does not improve anything. It doesn't speed cars up, it doesn't add, it doesn't make your life better.
Improved traffic
It makes
operations
it worse.
broad, it could be.
Just-
It's broad enough.
It's an engineering professional opinion.
I
Los Angeles
understand.
has 20
I
lane
understand.
highways and they have some of the worst traffic.
And it is, it's MDOT's call and they're
Yeah.
outside of our
Yeah,
jurisdiction.
but
so-
yes, right, add capacity. It's just-
Yeah.
So we can like improve traffic.
It can be, it's embedded under.
Yeah, it's embedded, exactly. I think improve traffic. operations.
Improve traffic.
There we go.
Just keep deleting. That's I'm always stopping short, that's my goal, is always to stop short.
And capacity is not always measured in number of lanes, because optimum capacity is at 30 miles an hour, and I don't think people want to drive 30 miles an hour on I-97 all day.
But do anyway.
They sometimes, not at 3 AM, they don't. But yeah,
Fine,
the
improve
slower you
traffic
go.
operations on 3 and 97 to reduce overflow traffic. That's fine.
Improve operations. Yeah, just strike capacity and say improve
Fine.
operations.
If
Got
they
it.
improve that.
Yeah,
it'll
I-
go
I made
up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Same time, we're never gonna
I-
get, like, we're never gonna.
I always left in, yeah, we can't control the state highway, that's, no, it is what it is. Yeah.
For BE 12, strategy BE 12, this one's focused on, it just tweaks and prioritization of areas for bike lanes. This is, again, is based on public comments that came through in that questionnaire that we sent out prior to the zoning category, or the preliminary zoning. So these were two added strategies. BE 16 was, this was in response to some public comments, supporting buffers along Maryland 3 to help buffer some of the commercial uses that are along Maryland 3. Buffer those from the surrounding lower density and rural communities.
And just the noise of the traffic, right, and trucks or something.
But
So, yeah, go ahead.
doesn't that, I mean, that leads to one of Jasmine's favorite topics, which is like, once you build the buffer, then it's only a matter of time before those buffer zones start being like, well, you know, we'd really rather be something else.
No, development we require a certain buffer to be implemented.
We're talking about physical planted buffer.
Oh, so you're talking, okay, not zoning.
zoning.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, okay, never mind.
Woods or walls.
Pretty
Yeah.
fast.
Tree walls.
Tree walls.
And then,
Disregard.
yeah, and then BE 17 is it's that added strategy that kind of outlines the cultural resource imperatives that we talked about previously, the text that was added at page 57.
Is there any historical stuff at that Route 3 Millersville intersection? Like, I know there's an old school there, but is there anything where?
The school is, the school's on a separate lot and it's not threatened. The farmhouse is on the historic inventory. I think it needs, the last I spoke with our cultural resources folks, they needed to visit and kind of reassess if it retains enough, what's the word, historic integrity to warrant, preservation. So it's on their list to do that.
There is a capital improvement project, by the way, to add a lane to Milledgeville Road westbound at Route 3. So basically line up the intersection so 2 lanes go through instead of 1. You still have the right turn onto Route 3 northbound. But that's likely to get people run up. I expect they're gonna see construction at the corner and see what's going on. But they're just winding out.
And that'll just make the zoning with came up with even more important.
Yeah.
The healthy economy section, this is based on the questionnaire that we had sent out. So we revised the first HE1 to really focus it more on support for some of the existing programs that the Economic Development Corporation has going on, and to remove references to financial incentives in community hubs. I know several of you I heard from you all when you all reviewed those strategies. I actually thought that there was a glitch in SurveyMonkey, and so some of that language still got sent out to the public, which in a way was good because we got public input, and there does not seem to be public support. I'm thinking you, Melissa, but I know some others had the same comment. So anyway, based on that, I'd recommend that we delete Healthy Economy 2 and 3 strategy and just stick with the one Healthy Economy strategy, which I actually think makes sense for Region 6. Region 6 is not the county's, economic hub, so I'm not too worried that we don't have a ton of economic strategies for the region. That's pretty sparse. So that's what I had on that. And then this is, I don't know if you all read this or not, this is just our description of the public outreach process that, this is page 114 and 115. So that's the public outreach process, through this process. So that's it in a nutshell for tweaks to the plan.
What were the pages at the end that were like to be updated? I didn't really read those, like they were.
The planned land use and policy area change tables.
Okay.
We're still working through those to formalize those too, and they will be in the public or the planning advisory board draft. But it will have, we included, I think, an example from maybe Region 3 or something that shows that all of your votes will be included there. And then there will be space for the planning advisory board to also weigh in and the council when they do that. A note, the zoning tables will not be in the plan. Those are separate because it's a separate, but in tandem process. So if you go looking
These
for
charts
that.
are just land use, not.
Plan land use policy area, in the plan. That's it in terms of the plan. How do we feel? Is there anything else that
You've done
we
a
need to
great
talk
job.
about tonight with regard to the plan?
I'm really impressed with how
Yeah.
well you've captured everything. So thank you very
Really?
much.
Okay.
Like you've done that for us.
Very good.
Yeah,
Um,
the comments that have been made, just the small changes, it seems like
Yeah.
reached at least a pretty good consensus that the plan itself, again, separate from the zoning changes, but the plan itself is
Yeah.
ready to go for public comment, I would say.
Do we want to dive into this? Do you all want to take a quick 5-minute break and then get into the zoning map?
Sure.
All right, let's do that we'll get back at, I don't know, 6:56.
Yeah.
We're recording and we're live. Should I just continue?
Welcome back.
All right, welcome back, everyone. All right, sorry, I need to get my screens going here. Oh, this is you, you're up. Maddie is gonna, give a quick summary. This is for public review. We shared the public comments and the summary with you all, but she's gonna go over some things to set the stage for us.
Yeah, so this is a summary of all the comments that we received on the draft preliminary zoning map, and that's everything that we received through that GIS portal that we have online, as well as emails and phone calls that the staff received, and some comments we got from the 2 open houses that we held at Alton Hall. So I just highlighted here two sites from Crownsville and 1 site from Millersville that received more than 10 comments. So these were the sites that received the most public feedback. The first one was the 1222 General's Highway. It was a for change request. And I believe we heard the owners mistaking. 3 of the public comments were in agreement with, OPZ's preliminary recommendation to retain RLD. And then there were 18 opposing comments, that supported the owner's request for C4. And most of those comments noted that C4 would support economic development and local businesses. And then the next one that we received a significant amount of public feedback on was 1082 Epping Forest Road. That was another owner change request. That was the location that's right across from the veterinary hospital down in the south of the region. So there are 56 comments on this change recommendation. 49 were in agreement with the OPZ draft recommendation to retain R1. 5 comments opposed the recommendation and supported the owner request. Most of the supporting comments of retaining that R1 noted that the overall character of the area is rural. An increase in zoning intensity could increase traffic and impact the environment. There was concern around Bestgate Road. And then the Pearl Town Center already serves as a commercial center for surrounding purpose.
I have a quick question. So I'm looking at the cheat sheet thing that you made first in the beginning with all the applications. And for 1222 generals, it says here that the current zone is C1. Like on, like this thing that you made for us, like the map and like the. And he was saying, yeah, it fell through the cracks and that's why it was still RLD from last time. But here it says the zones are
It is
C1.
It is C1. That's.
This C1.
Okay.
And then
Yeah, but there it says to retain. And then he said it's this.
Yeah.
Didn't he say something else too?
Yeah, he said it was still RLD too, and
Yeah.
your slide said it was RLD, so that's how I got.
So yeah, it is.
It is C1.
It is C1.
Okay.
The
whole issue,
Oh.
the whole issue of it fell through the cracks was 1341 Sunrise Beach, but not that other track.
That's 1222.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
1222 is across the street on the west side. correct? Yeah, that is
C1.
currently C1.
Okay.
Okay, but your thing up there did say it was RLD, so.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
your
your slide did.
slide.
On the side.
She changed it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, she did. Or it did.
Not live.
It's
That's why I got confused and was thinking it
Yeah.
was the same.
Yeah. Thank you, that's a great catch.
And then the other request that received a significant amount of public feedback was the Millersville Road Route 3 site. We received 43 comments, 25 were associated with the the larger northern parcel, that's zone C2. 24 comments were associated with the southern parcel, that's currently zoned RLD. I put a breakdown here, but the majority of the comments either supported for the northern parcel, either supported downzoning the parcel or retaining C2. And then on that southern parcel, 15 comments urged OPZ to recommend retaining RLD. And just to remind you guys, the SAC said RLD, OPZ's recommendation was to upzone to C2. 4 comments suggested downzoning the property to OS. And then a couple comments indicated either NXDR or C2. Overwhelmingly, the comments opposed commercial use and upzoning of the site, and we wanted to preserve the rural and historic character of Millersville. There were traffic and safety concerns at the intersection, discussed. Comments about protecting the Javas Branch watershed from increased development and impervious surface runoff. And then limited residential desire for increased commercial services in the Millersville area. And then I think, Patrick, we're gonna get into recommendations that we have for PAP, and some of these recommendations are based on comments that we've received in this public feedback.
Yeah, so we had, in our preliminary map, we had, and this is one I'm gonna give you all, if you would, to vote vote on this one. We had, sorry, I'm trying to find my notes here. We had indicated that this large portion here would, this whole property would go to R2. Based on some public comment, we are recommending to retain the existing R2 OS split on this. There is a small portion of MA2 where this marina zoning here kind of wanders across the line. So we're still recommending, you know, to get rid of that and take that to R2, but we would recommend deleting the change and maintain that existing OS zone in the center of the site here. This is at 574 Palisades Boulevard, if you're all familiar with that. I guess I should have led with that. Is this something that the SAC would support? Can I get?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we have to make a motion?
I think it's pretty clear. I think you all are.
Okay.
We have a consensus.
It's a very
on
small,
that.
small change.
Second note. All right. And the other change, or there are several changes that kind of fall into one bucket is, we had talked as a group about, do we need to go back to the one before?
No, at some point we did go to the Milledgeville one, but that's later, okay?
We can get to that, yeah. I have a few that I want to get
Okay.
your feedback on,
Mhm.
and then any that you all, the SAC, feel like we need to kind of discuss
I just
again.
think that there's an error report.
Okay, we can address that.
That's okay.
So this is one kind of bucket of some changes that we're gonna make in the map for the PAB. We did get input from several community associations that own open space or recreation parcels. And we talked about these, but the ones that we heard from, Saltworks on the Severn, Woodlore, Sayfern, Carriage Hills, and Indian Landing. And then we also spoke with 2 or 3 other neighborhoods that seemed generally comfortable with our preliminary recommendation, but those first 5 actually sent us letters asking for some changes to our recommendation on their community-owned properties. And so we had this conversation as a group. We're supporting the changes that they have requested. None of them are crazy. None of them are asking for W3 or anything like that. It's either, in this case, this is an example in the Sayfern community. So this large parcel in the center, they have requested to maintain the existing OS and R1 split. It's because, and we talked through significantly with them, but they have a pond area that's under that OS area. So they like that preservation, but there's a tennis court area that is under the R1. So they at first wanted to extend OS to cover the entire site, but then once they realized what the limitations might be under OS zoning, they asked to maintain the existing split. So that's just one example, but and we have a map, thanks to Maddie, of where these communities are that requested, you know, something specific for their community property. So we're supporting the requests that they made. If you all are in favor of that, do we have
It was our
consensus?
intent when we spoke last time to have that
Right.
mechanism.
But comes from the community, yeah, we're generally supportive.
Okay. All right, so I think that gives us what we need then on those 2. I'll tell you what, let me come back to your Millersville thing,
You
because I
just
wanted
keep
to,
rolling, and I'll bring it back up later.
yeah, good. We have these 2 new zoning requests, and we heard from our folks this afternoon. So this first one is just south of Harold Harbor Road, immediately adjacent to where the Dunkin' Donuts is going. Property is adjacent to C1 property. And they've requested C3, as you heard, from the current RLD. And they've listed a range of current and future potential uses. And you heard from them already, so I don't need to reiterate all of that. But I will say that we had discussions with our zoning division that confirmed that the uses that were outlined are permitted under the current RLD zoning. And so hence, planning and zoning is recommending maintaining the existing zoning at this point. And so discussion, vote from the committee on this.
What are the, yeah,
I think,
Not that we want to get into a big back and forth, but would it be appropriate to ask the applicant for this case just to speak to maybe what they are trying to do that they don't think can be done under the existing zoning? Would you be able to briefly summarize that?
So like I said before, the current building we're in is a mobile trailer that's there. And in planning, we want to put in like a still pole barn building style, and building where we can build out the inside and have more welcoming retail space inside, but not also have a lot of area for our, garden center and plants and everything. So not much larger building, but I think when we submit plans to get permits and things like that, they're gonna be like, this is a commercial, but not residential.
So the building's too big for the acreage that you have?
Well, no, no, it would fit on there. It's a, 2.21 acres. But it's as zoned as residential. The plans we want to put in a building with a commercial kitchen so we can infuse honey, which is required by, the Department of Agriculture. Things we have to have a commercial kitchen to do that. And so a honey extraction room with equipment to extract honey, and a candle pouring room, but also the retail space that we desperately need. I know we're gonna run into headaches when we try to submit a design and development plan with zoning, but this is not under residential. It's not a house, nothing, when it comes to that. They're gonna consider it more commercial, even though we don't wanna expand and bring in a whole bunch of extra traffic and things like that. We just wanna enhance the property that we have and use it to our best advantage and to everybody's advantage that comes there, so.
Have you had a zoning officer determination or some equivalent correspondence from the zoning folks that say the uses that you're proposing can't be done?
Like a zoning verification.
Yeah, zoning verification.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know, like, that's.
That was something we discussed with Patrick, we had a discussion about that. And that would be something that if this whole process fails to get him into a commercial district, we probably would get that letter. Because then when we do come back to get a site development plan, and we have that letter in hand, and development division says, well, wait, no, you can't. We're gonna say, well, we tried and failed, and now we're stuck. So we don't want to get stuck.
Okay.
So that would be something that would, in the future, potentially be done to address it.
There is some concern, and there was when we were looking at zoning coming down General's Highway from Harold Harbor, that if we start changing the zoning along that corridor, that's what's gonna happen. It's commercial, it just starts coming down. And I think that at least for those people that are near that area, Fairfield, Overlook, a few others, it's a little disconcerting that all then becomes a lot more commercial than it is right now. So at least from the people I'm hearing, and when I saw this, I went and asked a few different neighborhoods and I just knocked on a few doors. It was just one of those of, what do you think? And it was the idea of having more, I think everybody's struggling with Harold Harbor Corner changing a great deal right now. And the idea of further, more development, bigger development, more commercialization right there, right now, made people that I spoke to a bit uncomfortable.
I understand what you're saying. I do hear that. The big problem is that it is already commercial. It's designated on the county GIS map. It is designated retail commercial. It already is commercial. So we're trying to fix.
Or you can't do what you want to do within the current commercial zone.
Technically, retail stores is not in use in RLD. It is not.
So why did they say it's consistent? I guess I'm still seeing there's a disconnect.
Like, I mean, if it's RLD, then it's not commercial, if that's the whole
Yeah, is it
point.
because it's like agriculture
Yeah.
related and agriculture is allowed in most?
No, garden centers are allowed in RLD. And specifically, beekeeping is called out as a use that's allowed, and
What about the
So
marketing?
it
and
would be
shipping
changing
about
it from,
all that
from a
allowed?
garden center beekeeping into a commercial kitchen demonstration place. Other
Gardens,
yeah,
garden center.
garden center in addition to what you're adding to.
And that's one of the frustrating parts about this, is C1 would be great, if not for the fact that C1 doesn't have garden center. We would not need that intensive a district, we don't, that's, we're kind of stuck there. C1 would be absolutely fine, it really wouldn't change it, it's not gonna change anything that's going on the site, it's gonna give them the possible, the potential and possibilities and being able to do what they are doing with the right zoning.
So they can still, but right now, they can do the garden center, they can do the beekeeping, they can do expansion of those activities. They just can't do the commercial kitchen, they can't do what other pieces.
So why not? Cause that says kitchen area. You said they read this, right? It said it was consistent.
Under RLD.
That's what I'm not getting. It seems
Yeah,
like-
I mean, that's my understanding in talking to the zoning folks, is that everything that was proposed in the application is something that can be done under the existing zoning.
So if they got the certification letter and they wanted to do what he wants to do, and they brought that in with the certifications and we were told everything we're proposing is consistent with this zoning, would there be a problem or?
They'd have to be developed, or, whatever development requirements. And the point of trying to build
And that's why I'm trying to get ahead of it, because when we do this, I don't wanna put all the time and, effort into doing all this and then starting all over again from scratch, because zoning was incorrect, so now I gotta go all back in. And talking with several people, they were surprised that we weren't already zoned commercial. They're like, wait, what? This has been commercial since the 80s, this has been a garden in place. Now, the previous owner, she had Crownsville Gardens and Free State Bees she operated both out of the same location. So it was kind of garden center, but beekeeping company in there at the same time. And Honeysmith, I brought it all into one. And so, and we have more than what she had. She had just strictly beekeeping equipment. I sold bees and didn't sell the equipment. But now sell the bees, the equipment, but we also sell honey. We sell thousands of beeswax candles, moisturizers that are made with beeswax, all these products that are made with beeswax that you wouldn't find in a normal garden center, and things like that. But we sell them at farmers markets and things like that. And so that is where our concern is. We don't want to run into any headaches when we get licenses, things like that, to do honey infused things like that.
And C1, it doesn't specifically preclude garden centers.
It does, it's not.
Doesn't say.
They're not permitted in C1 at this point.
Got it.
At what point does something become manufactured?
It is not.
Got it. Say it's not a omission.
Yeah.
But you could have maybe RLD with a non-conforming use for a kitchen, or no?
The kitchen's permitted.
Yeah, it sounds like that's what I'm.
Everything's permitted
Yeah.
that they're doing, like,
Right.
they're not currently non-conforming, they are conforming to the allowed uses in RLD.
Right.
But like, still would be within
So-
new kitchen.
And even, so they,
The trouble with upzoning it is, if something happens in the future,
yeah,
we could have another Dunkin' Donuts, we
Exactly.
could have a Starbucks, McDonald's,
Yeah.
Wendy's. Could have a dispensary, we could have a gas station and towing yard. There's like a huge list of things that are allowed in C3.
and the very next one, the next door neighbor is.
And the
gonna
next
come
door
with a
neighbor is
CFA
already
and
on your
other
zone.
zoning. Yeah, they've already come,
They've already
Yeah.
done it.
so
Sorry.
If I can make a comment, I think the generalized kind of like sentiment of what we have gotten from comments from the community, also our own sentiment is like not about the local businesses that are trying to, expand or grow, but it's like what happens when they leave? What happens when they are not successful? And the non-outside kind of big, larger company comes and they say like, oh, C3 doesn't work for me, let's do C4. I think that is just kind of like the sentiment of many of the residents there. Everybody, I think, in this area or region is afraid of suffering what Route 3 is suffering from one and another and another, and then all of a sudden you have an entire corridor that is pretty much unbearable in terms of traffic. So I think that that's just kind of like where the majority of people are coming from. Is like as again, I think all of us are in favor of supporting local businesses and make sure that you thrive, that you can develop, provide for your families. But I think that that's a generalized sentiment about like what happens if you are not here anymore, or your business moves to another location because it's so successful, right? So, yeah, I don't know.
I think generally we've been pretty consistent. I can't remember except maybe a couple of applications that have come through in this whole process that we have recommended upzoning just because we don't want to start that precedent. So yeah, this is a tricky one because generally, I think with the one property, that OBI property that's off of Route 3, just barely off of Route 3.
That was a staff recommendation.
Yeah, we recommended that be upzoned simply because they were going to continue to do the existing thing that they were already doing. It was just, I think it was non-conforming, so we made it conforming. But generally, we've tried to shy away from speculative upzoning. And this is kind of somewhere in between because we see what you're doing and we like what you're doing, but upzoning would allow you to continue doing it, but could also allow a lot of other things.
And if you could do it within the current zoning, we would encourage that.
Do we want to take a vote on this one?
Can you, or is there any more real quick, can you go over where the zoning process goes from here and what our role in the zoning process is here at the SAC? I know that we've all heard it, but for the.
So the
benefit of
SAC's
the-
role ends at the end of this meeting tonight. So, from here, the draft zoning map is gonna go to the planning advisory board. It'll be open for public review at the beginning of September. And then I think mid-September at some point, they'll actually open the true public hearing process and take comments at that point. Any of you, I would encourage you to remain engaged and, comment as individuals through the process and kind of stay abreast. Is that getting it?
Yeah, and does what come out of here zoning wise, is that a determination or a recommendation?
It's a recommendation.
I know, I'm sorry, I'm asking Patrick to
Yeah.
clarify for maybe people who haven't been here for 6 months.
Clarify the process, Christine Campbell with the Office of Planning and Zoning. So the Stakeholder Advisory Committee, consistent with what the county executive said, in the charts that are gonna go forward, there will be a column for the SAC and what the SAC recommended. The map that will move forward to the Planning Advisory Board is the OPZ map recommendation. We may differ in some cases from your recommendation. So the draft map that goes to PAB will be OPZs. There will be additional public comment that will be taken. Then after we get through the PAB process, a bill will be prepared for the county council. Again, it is the OPZ draft recommendation. It will look at, what the SAC recommended, the PAB recommended, what citizens said on certain properties, but it will be the OPZ recommendation. Once it gets to county council, the Office of Planning and Zoning becomes a secondary player because it is up to county council whether or not they are going to amend. So what I suspect will happen, because we've already been through 2 rounds and we've seen it, is these property owners and their agents are gonna go chat with their county council people to see if they want an amendment to happen. That's how the process works. We do encourage all of you to stay involved. You can stay involved as individuals through the county council process. You won't stay involved as the entire group.
so that if you have comments on certain parcels, you can make them, but that's the process.
What's the date of the P, or is it multiple PAB meetings or? what?
There are multiple PAE meetings because all three regions, 5, 6, and 8, will be moving through together.
We've got a slide.
Oh, you do
We'll
have all
handle
the
this,
data,
yeah.
okay.
So what that says to me is that none of us should get our feelings too hurt over this. We're making one recommendation. This won't be the last recommendation. So with that, I would say, somebody have a motion to make on the recommendation to retain RLD on this parcel.
I should recommend retaining the existing zone.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. And an abstention, okay. Big time honey buyer, okay. Very good. All right, that'll move on.
Okay. CRB 0401, 1101 Lakefield Lane. This is just around the corner from, Sunrise Beach Road. This is a request from the homeowner that has, requested a change from RLD to R1 in order to build a house for his daughter. And he knows that nearby neighborhoods and lots are smaller than an acre and a half. I did have a conversation with this person and let him know that currently the accessory dwelling unit provisions would allow for him to build an additional unit on his property. And so with that, planning and zoning right now is recommending to maintain the existing RLD zoning and not create a spot of R1 in the overall context of RLD.
Yeah, I had the same thought, and even during our meetings, because when we had the one ADU discussion, the county limited it at 800, or however many square feet, but now there's a new state law that might trump that and make it larger, right? So I don't, yeah, I had the same thought. That's it.
How big's the property?
It's
That's okay, I'm putting you on the spot.
2.5 acres.
Is that what the application is?
It's
I
on
thought
the
you did, I thought you just
application.
like,
Thank you.
Sorry,
It's
you
about
just-
2.5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just-
look it up, 2.5.
Sorry for that. Give or take a
Scale, yeah, there's no scale, but they figured it out.
You don't spend all your time on GIS. I can pull it.
And then ADU, like a detached ADU can go up to 800 square feet, but if it's attached to the existing house, it could probably be a lot bigger.
It can be the size of the.
Yeah.
of the-
A big
Big house, exactly.
And they have 2.5 acres.
3 acres.
3 acres.
Oh.
They could put a big, and like, if you're not subdividing it, you don't have to meet setbacks
Yep.
between the two houses. You don't have to pay all the subdivision fees. You don't have to do all, it's the easier thing to do.
It's like a motion.
Make a motion.
It's a motion. To retain.
I have a motion to retain RLD zoning.
Second.
Second, all in favor? All opposed? Okay,
All right. That's all that I wanted to discuss in terms of zoning. Now, you had.
It was just one of the questions that we were looking at under the Millersville. I'm looking at page 11 of the summary of comments. And it says that, on the 0003 A and B is 1697, 1699 Millersville Road. And 679 MD3 North owner change request. You there? It said owner requested the change consists of 2 parcels. The northern is zone C2, southern parcel zoned RLD. The, it said that we voted to upzone the southern parcel to C2. And I believe we voted to keep it RLD.
You did.
Okay.
This is the OPC recommendation, which is what they just.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. I thought this was saying that we had wanted to keep it. Okay.
In the Yeah. In the map that we put out, we're very careful to make sure that it represented the OPZ recommendation for the two parcels, and that you all recommended maintaining
Yeah.
zoning and the RLD on the smaller
It's
piece.
just
So that was
getting
one
confused.
area.
I was getting my things confused, sorry.
Good. I appreciate that.
So this whole part about the public comment on that doesn't even mention what we ended up suggesting.
I guess not in the summary.
Not in the summary. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
Are there any other zoning changes or things that you all feel like we need to bring up and discuss again, based on, we had shared the public comments with you all. I don't know if any of that jogged anything with the rest of you that you want to bring up a change or, you know, bring up for discussion again.
If my count is correct, I believe we had 4 different zoning cases mentioned here. Well, besides Honey Smith, we had 4 other cases mentioned here tonight. Does anybody have any desire to revisit those?
Okay.
In light of next steps, being able to go on and plead their case to the PAB and elsewhere, I think we're
Yeah.
satisfied with the votes we've already taken.
Okay, then if we can get a vote, 2 votes from you all, one to advance the draft plan to the planning advisory board, and then one to advance the draft zoning map to the planning advisory board
With the minor changes.
with the changes that we discussed tonight.
Your motion.
Sounds like the plan is the easiest one. So,
Yes.
do you want to do both or just one at a time? Okay, so
Yeah, plan.
to approve the plan with the changes recommended tonight, we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
I did. He got to me before.
It's very efficient. Okay, all opposed to the plan? Okay. Recommendation for the plan to move on ahead. Now, the other vote would be on the zoning cases.
Yeah, I motion to forward the zoning map to.
The planning advisory board for consideration.
So we have moving the zoning map with the OPZ recommendations and the SAC's comments or our own votes to the PAB. We have a motion.
Second.
Have a second over here?
Is it the same map that the public saw, like,
Minus what we discussed tonight, yes.
like it's not like the summary where our input will be taken out, it'll have both your recommendation and ours.
Right,
Those are
right.
gonna be- okay.
Yes.
Okay. Motion and second. All in favor? Okay. All opposed? Okay. Okay,
All right.
any other votes, Patrick?
Now I think I can.
Okay.
We do one more. So
Just for fun.
in terms of next steps, this is what I was wanting to get at. So one date's not on here. At the beginning of September, that's when we're looking to put the plan and the zoning out, and folks can start reviewing it. We will have September 17th, there'll be a planning advisory board here in this meeting in this room, and written testimony will open for this region. September 24th, public hearing at Rolling Knolls Elementary. So if you all would like to join us for that, and I'm sorry, I'm backing up to September 17th. I'm sorry, that's not a public hearing. That's where we, the staff, are briefing the PAB on
It's not
the
open.
plan and the
So that's
zoning
not open.
piece. Right, there's not a hearing at that meeting. We are giving a briefing, and we will typically highlight where there are areas of disagreement, divergence between what you all want to see and our recommendation.
It's open to the public, but there's no.
Yes, yeah. September 24th, Rolling Knolls, that is a public hearing, and that kicks off the public hearing process. And then you can read the rest of this. November 5th is when they deliberate, and then December 3rd, they should deliberate on any new zoning applications. And then we anticipate this all going to county council in early 2026, so in the January timeframe. Don't have a date for that yet, but would encourage you all to remain.
So similar with the fact that people can apply during the stakeholder advisory committee process, they can apply during planning advisory board. And then they can also apply during county council. So the thing is those PAB applications will not be reviewed by the SAC. That will be blank in the spreadsheet that goes forward.
And something that's not up here, is we will be sending letters to all of the new applicants and then those couple of zoning changes where we may change our recommendation. We will send letters to those owners responding. And then we did send general planning and zoning, or letters to to every property owner in the region will also go out, letting them know that this process is happening in a time frame and that sort of thing, and inviting engagement that way. So just be on the lookout for that and let your neighbors know as well.
And the PAB, this isn't like their only job, they're active, like, can you just go over who they are?
They review all master plans and their budget every year, so that's their
Improvement budget,
Yeah.
not the whole budget.
Are they're appointed by the county executive offices, and they serve like how many years?
Coterminous with the county executives.
And they represent a councilmanic district. Their geography relates to councilmanic district.
One last piece, meeting notes, we will, since we're not meeting with you all again, we will put those together. Hopefully it won't take 2 months to do that and send that out to you the next couple of weeks. If we could get a virtual approval that way, if we get a quorum of people approving, then we can make those official as well. So be on the lookout for that. That's all I have. Any other questions, comments?
All right, oh, you were so close, all right. Stacy just made a motion. So go ahead.
When you send that out, can you send it, does anybody want to get each other's email addresses? Do we have those? And if you don't
Are
want
you allowed to share those?
Because I think there was a policy about, I don't know. Yeah, you aren't allowed.
While you all were meeting, we were asked to blind copy you all so that there's not a potential quorum.
Yeah.
But your role is finished. You are
Right,
no longer
that's
the
what I'm
SAC
wondering.
as soon
Now
as
we
you
can-
go.
Right.
Yeah, so I motion that we adjourn the SAC and then we all share emails and contact information. Hang out.
At the non-existent boat ramp in your neighborhood.
The weeks where there's spoke things not gonna be.
You don't want a field trip.
Okay, we have a motion, sarcastic but still a motion. Second,
Not sarcastic.
all in favor? All right, all opposed, all right, we're adjourned.
Thanks to you guys.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Leave us these slides.
Oh,
We'll post them.
Okay, because I like to. Back in session.
Nope, can't undo it. Can't start it back up.
Do a motion to it. Yeah. We get to keep our name cards? Yeah.